Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this. Okay, guys, welcome to Uncovered. I am super excited to have this lady on our Uncovered podcast. We have been trying to touch base for I don't know how long. It's probably been about 4 to 6 weeks now to try and organize times. We just both bounced back and forward. So, Georgina Bowden, welcome to Uncovered. You are a marketing and sales guru. Tell us about you and what you're about and where you come from.
Sure. So thank you, Guru. It's been a long time since I've been called Guru. It's not the first time I've been called Guru, but it's been a long time since I've been called Guru, and I quite like it. So where did I come from? Look, I never set out to run this business, interestingly enough. I ran a consultancy. I'm from the UK originally. I've been in Australia for 5 years, and I ran a consultancy in the UK and moved here, had to give up my consultancy, got the traditional office job. And I really missed the autonomy of running my own business. There was the workplace was quite toxic. It's probably a whole other podcast discussion. And I decided that I really needed to get back to running my own business again. And when I thought about what it is that I love to do and what people were asking me for, a lot of people were asking me about how to be brave enough to jump in and start your own business, and what are the steps that you need to do to really make it work. And that, to me, I was like, I'm telling people this for free. So why don't I put a business together? And I became a marketing and sales mentor / guru. So newly appointed guru.
So you are telling me you fell into it, really?
Yeah, I kind of fell into it. Yeah. It was, I guess at that time, I vividly remember coming back to my office on the 2nd of January in Brisbane, sitting down at my desk at 8:30 in the morning and thinking, I can't do this anymore. What am I going to do instead? And then this vision of me running my own business, helping other people run their businesses, kind of just popped into my heart, almost like a key unlocking a door. And I was like, this is where I'm meant to be.
I love that. And look, one of the things I've been stalking you on Facebook for a while now, and just the type of person that you are. I love what you bring to the table as a person, because you've got this thing about you, Georgie, that is so needed, because a lot of people hate marketing and sales. Like a lot of us would rather chew our own hand off than do this stuff, because we're terrified of the exposure. We don't want to do the marketing. We don't know what to say. We have no idea what to do in this space. And then this beautiful person comes along and says, I can help you with this. And I think this is what's really, really important, is how do we do this with authenticity? Because I've seen a lot of your posts, and you are one of the people that I know, when you're posting stuff, I know that I'm safe. That's how I feel, because I know that you're posting because, number one, you care. Number two, you actually know what you're doing. And number three, I know that the people who are going to be served by you are going to get amazing results. And I don't see that a lot in the marketing and sales thing. It feels really sleazy, and it's really hard to know how to pick someone who is really genuine. So what is it that makes you stand out in the crowd, that makes you different?
Gosh, that's a really difficult question to answer. You can get too close to it, can't you? And by the way, for anybody who's watching this, just to let you know, I'm a crier. I'm an easy crier. I've already cried twice in front of Jason. I'm going to try very hard not to cry on this podcast, but I can't promise anything. He's just, thank you for the compliments. It's gorgeous. I think, yeah, you're right. I do see a lot of sleazy style marketing. And gosh, I really don't know what it is that is different about me. And I have heard it a few times, so I guess I'll probably have to start to own it at some point, right? But really, it's that when I communicate, whether it is through the written word, the Facebook post, or through a video, or I love running workshops for people. I just love to teach. I just want it to come straight from my heart to your heart, basically. And for me, it's not about where's my next sale coming from. It's about how can I be of service today? So whether that service is how can I impart some useful information that will help somebody with their business or with their sales or with their marketing, whether that useful information is a kind of a funny post, or whether that information is a kind of, look, we're both in it here together. Like, I know how you're feeling, because last week I wanted to throw my own business out of the window, and on the surface everything looks like it's going okay, but behind the scenes it's still a roller coaster. And for me, I think particularly that part of it where I'm sharing that things don't always go well, and that I have tech fails and workshop disasters all the time, and I'm still here. And it's that bit where you get up and carry on, that's the important part. So I think I just share directly from my heart, and it seems to work. That's a bit of a basic answer, isn't it?
It's actually probably the most important answer that I could hear, because look, for people who are listening right now, Georgie's talking about connection, right? And this is what I felt when I got to meet you. I just love you. There's just something really special about what you bring to the table in what you offer, because again, even just mentioning that you're teary, and especially for women, like women have natural tears, and it's like you're in business, you have to cover those over. And again, you're just showing authentic, right? And this is what, as a client, is actually looking for someone who they can trust and that they connect with. And what you're saying is so important from a client perspective. So listeners who are listening to this, and if you need some amazing support, this is what I know Georgie provides as her standard, right? And so when you've got a standard that you don't have to live up to, it's just what you do, I believe that's what makes you stand out, Georgie, because you do have that aspect of, you can see it in your eyes. For people who are watching this, you can see in your eyes the care and the emotion behind your want for people to win. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I had a sales call this morning, and she signed up, and she said, you make me feel really safe. And I think that when we're asking our clients to invest a significant amount of money and time and belief in us and in themselves, gosh, they've got to feel safe. Otherwise it's a no, right?
Yeah, it sure is. And look, that's what's really important, because look, I know from the sleazy style, you can be impulsively driven for a yes because you're scared of losing your business, and you just go, I'll have to choose this person. They've known how to snake all a yes out of you. Right? And that's really sucks, because I've been snake oiled before.
Same.
And it's really awful, because then you feel really disappointed in yourself that you picked some snake oil as opposed to someone who is able to give you what you really need. And safety is an unquantifiable measure that you can feel in someone, but you don't know how to pinpoint it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I completely agree. And the truth of this is a broad brush generalization, guys. So just take it with a pinch of salt. But the broad brush generalization is that typically people who are amazing at what they do tend to need help with marketing and sales. And when they, particularly I find when people first start their business, and I was the same, even though I'd already run a business before, you kind of think you put your website up and you say, I'm going to be a coach, or I'm going to be a healer, or I'm going to do this thing. And you'll kind of just expect people to somehow magically find you. But the reality is probably about, especially in the early days, about 95% of what you do is going to be sales and marketing. So I always tell my clients, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Let's find a way that feels good. And you have to fall in love with the process of doing the sales and marketing as much as you love the process of massage or photography or whatever it is that they do to pay the bills. I want them to fall in love with sales and marketing and with connecting with their clients. And that connection word that you used, so important. One of the things that is such a great connection between my old consultancy and what I do now is so much of it is about building up relationships. And I think people don't understand how much of business is about relationships when they haven't run one before.
Yeah. And I think that's really, really important, isn't it? Because look, being in the helping industry, all people want to do is help people.
Yes.
And
yeah.
But what I'm in, I don't even think about the marketing and the sales and that sort of thing. When I've just been on 3 calls this morning for our academy, and I've had one person, I said, it's not necessarily a right fit, because I always try to make sure I do the right thing by the people. And I said, maybe in about 12 or 18 months, we might be a right fit. And the other 2 are a right fit. One person said yes today, and the other person is pretty much on. And all I'm thinking about is how I can help them. And is that the right thing? Is that how you go about it? Like, I don't know. I'm hopeless with this. I've got a business that works, and I don't know how I get it to work. All I do is go, well, I'm going to care the living shit out of everybody who I meet, and I'm going to just care absolutely to the nth degree. And that has seemed to have gotten me clients. That's the only thing I do. Yeah. What do you suggest that people need to start with when they're trying to figure out how to do this gig?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I see for you is when you show up, you show up with, it's the whole of Jason. When we see Jason, we see the whole of Jason.
Yeah.
And you're a major connector. So we met on the intensive in January. I can't believe it's nearly April by the way. We met on the intensive in January, and you showed up with the whole of Jason and served so powerfully us 6 people that were there that weekend. And when you're on our group calls for the mastermind that we're on together, you show up fully there, and you show up fully in the posts that you write, and you show up fully in the comments that you make on other people's posts. And all of that stuff, for everybody that's listening, Jason is just, this isn't Jason forcing it. This is Jason just being Jason, because he is also coming from a position of love. And I think that there's lots of things to get right. Obviously, we have to get our messaging right, and we have to get our offer right, and all the rest of it. But he's coming from a place of love. And when you love hard on the people around you, I just think it's good karma, apart from the bonuses that you're building relationships and building connections. It's good karma, because then I'll be recommending Jason, or he might recommend me, or other people that we both know. So I think that piece about loving hard is really important, and understanding that those connections can, not always, but they can take time to build up. Because what we think is we'll make a social media post, and then because coaches sell it that way, with this one post you'll make $30,000 or whatever it is. People are expecting, right? No, well, it's not true for me. I reckon it's true. It's probably true when you've got a very big audience. Yeah. But most of the people that I see, they might only have 50 people in their audience, or 300 people in their audience.
Yeah.
And so it's wrong. This is again probably a slight diversion from our topic of conversation, but it's wrong of people to teach that when you're just beginning, you can have this like crazy sellout success when you're starting from an audience of like your mum and your sister kind of thing. But you have to start somewhere. And that loving hard piece is really important. And yeah, so the point that, sorry, I went off topic a bit there, but the point that I wanted to make was there's time between people seeing you at a networking event or on Facebook or whatever, and them saying, send me the invoice, like I want, shut up and take my money kind of thing. There's a period of time between those two situations. And that period of time is the loving them hard time, in my opinion.
Got you. So
yeah.
If you're thinking about a buying experience, like when you're putting your stuff out and people are getting to know and like you, what sort of time is that? Like what does a person who's wanting to find out, well, how does marketing work? As a client, we're going, okay, we put this marketing out, where's our clients? Like where are they? So, we can get like frustrated or whatever, or impatient in the journey of the client acquisition process. So how does that all work?
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get a tiny bit technical. But it's not super complicated. So people at home, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen next to you, then for me there are about four kind of phases that we can take someone through from stranger on the internet or stranger at a networking event to a client. And the first thing is the attract phase. And so the attract phase is where you're talking about what you do, and you're sharing how you relate to your ideal clients, and what problems they might be having, what bad habits they've got, how they're talking to themselves, the kind of things that they find themselves doing on a regular basis. And they go, oh, Jason sees me, or George understands what's going on for me. And their brain starts firing up, and when they get that little fire up, they look for you more often. And maybe they start following you, or maybe they sign up to something on your email list or something like that. And then that's the catalyst. That's really the key part for everybody who's watching, is if you don't have an email list yet, please start an email list like yesterday, because Facebook, we know, moves fast, and the algorithm is generally set against us. It's a very busy place and getting busier, so there's less space in the feed for your stuff. So really, we want to attract people with our words and with our videos and stuff like that. Give them a place to land. Your email list or a Facebook group is also ideal. And then we enter the nurture phase, which is that kind of the loving phase. We can love through the whole thing, right? But the nurture bit is where they get to know you. And sometimes, we all know there's different buyer personas, right? Some people are gut instinct buyers, and they'll be like, Jason, shut up and take my money. I already know that you're the right person for me. And there are people who have been in my list for years and don't take any action. And all of a sudden they come out of the woodwork and go, George, I've been trying on my own. I love your stuff. I've been following you for ages. Like, how can we work together? So that's why the nurture bit is so important, because you've got lots of different buyer types to work with here. As I said, you've got those kind of gut instinct buyers who are just ready, and they'll just like ping out of nowhere and tell you. And then you've got the ones that just take a little bit longer to warm up. So you've got the attract phase, the nurture phase, then you've got the convert bit, which for me is, I love to teach on workshops. I love to run challenges. And that for me is the bit where I say, look, I'm going to teach you a load of really, really good stuff. And at the end, I'm going to say how we can work together. And I even tell them what I'm going to do. And then after the workshop, I'll follow up with you and see if you want to join my program, or see if you want to work with me. So that's that convert bit. And convert might also look like a discovery call, or maybe you have a chat in a DM, or maybe it's an email or something like that. But my preferred way of converting people is on workshops. And then obviously you've got the sale and delivery part, where the love doesn't stop, the love just carries on, which is amazing. So yeah, those four phases are really important to understand your own clients going through. And the thing that we were talking about earlier on about people jumping too quickly is that they think that they're going to jump from attract to sale and deliver in one go. But quite often there's two pieces missing, which is the nurture piece and the convert piece. And that's what I see time and time again with my clients, is that they're missing out those two really important pieces in the middle.
Yeah, I love that. And so Do you love, when you're going through business, and we all have these moments in time in our businesses, and I'm the same as that. What happens with you when things are not going well in your world and you're struggling with selling yourself to yourself? Like, how do you handle things when you're struggling, hun?
Oh gosh. Honestly, sometimes I don't handle things. And I just have to remember that this is part and parcel of what we signed up for with business. I would love to know if it ever goes away. I'm not convinced it ever goes away, because one of my clients said, bigger level, bigger devil. And I think she's right. Those little shadow parts of ourselves that like to come out and play, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're someone that suffers with imposter syndrome, it doesn't matter whether you're on your first 5,000 a month or 50,000 a month, imposter syndrome will come up and bite you in the ass. That we've spoken about, I have a fear, do I really matter? Like, that's my big thing that comes out and bites me every now and again. Why am I doing this? Do I really matter?
Yeah.
And then, so probably 2 or 3 times a year, I go through a phase where I'm like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm done. Literally, that's what I think to myself. Fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm going to throw my laptop out the window. And after I have that, I'm like, okay, right. Now I've recognized that's where I'm at, this kind of stage. What's really going on? Is it because I think that no one's going to sign up on my next launch? Is it because I've burnt out? That's quite a lot for me. Will anyone sign up? Is it because I've burnt out? Are my clients not getting the results that I want for them? Like, do I want it more than my clients want it? Which can often be the case. Like, you can see, and I'm sure you do as well, 100%. You see the potential in someone, and when they just can't get it, gosh, it's frustrating. And so for me, it's a bit of just understanding that this is my process to go through, that this is how and you know what, after every fuck this, I'm done episode, I come out stronger, better, up leveled, all of that kind of stuff. And so I've grown to understand that this is my process for up leveling. This is my process to understand that whatever I'm doing right now isn't working the way that I want it to work. I give myself now I recognize it, I give myself a lot of space. I'll go out and walk, I'll take a break from social media, I'll do all of that kind of stuff. And invariably something will drop in for me that will be like someone's turned on the light bulb. And I'll say, yeah, that's what I need to do to move out of this thing.
And do you get help too, Georgie? Do you go and seek help, or do you isolate? What's the standard protocol for you, hun? Because we all do different in business. And look, what I want to share with your listeners right now is this woman is telling the truth. And this is not what you generally hear. This is what I love about Uncovered, is that I pick people who are real people who talk the real stuff. And people, I've wanted to pack in my business so many times. Last year, I wanted to pack it in at least 3 or 4 times. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
And there are high stress levels that come along. And then there's this expectation, you're the sales and marketing guru. You can't be that person. You're not allowed, because you're the person who's upbeat, shows how it is, and all of that sort of stuff. And sometimes you just want to crawl into your bed and snuggle in and not fucking get up for the day and keep the lights out. And this is normal business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a launch last year. I didn't sell a single spot. And I was like, how can I be a sales and marketing person if I can't even sell my own bloody program? But, there were a lot of other things going on for me at that time. I gave myself the grace. I kind of knew when I was going into the launch that I probably shouldn't be doing it. I just, the truth of the matter is, at that time, if I had have signed clients, I'm doubtful whether I would have had the energy to be able to serve them as powerfully as what I would when I'm kind of firing on all 4 cylinders. So I always think there's a reason behind everything. You just have to be brave enough to look for it. And in answer to your question about, do I ask for help? No, I'm really shit at asking for help. I'm really shit at asking for help. It's something that I'm working on.
Yeah, and it can be one of those challenging points, isn't it? Because a lot of business owners do the same. Yeah. They have to go down into the absolute pit, and then they still don't get help. And sometimes businesses can break just because they didn't put a voice out and say, hey, I need a hand. So listeners, what Georgie's talking about, and this is what I really believe that businesses need, is someone who can market and do sales and help you with this stuff. Because most people, if we're looking at a score sheet, most people are probably a D to an F when it comes to actually knowing how to do this properly. And I know I've got a lot of work to do around my sales and marketing stuff now. And I'm always thinking, what can I do better? How can I do it better? And I bumble my way through it. But when you've got someone who, you know, is honestly telling you there are times in her business where things haven't worked, and a lot of people actually say this. I remember this big company that I was in, and this guy was really honest. Someone had a meltdown, and this lady had a meltdown, and the guy just said, yeah, 90% of the stuff that we do in sales and marketing actually doesn't work. Only 10% does. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
And it's a trial and error sometimes, isn't it?
Sometimes it is. And it's easy for me to say it, and it's really hard to do. But I like to try and treat business like a bit of an experiment. And sometimes experiments don't work. And sometimes they go better than you could have ever imagined. And so I think, you know, if you're in business, have some fun with it, and get your community around you. That's why, you know, the mastermind that we're both part of is so valuable. That's why people come to you. That's why people are in my membership, because having that community around you is so important to get you out of the ruts when you get stuck in them and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And I think this is one thing that's really important, is loneliness is pretty common as the business leader. So when you start out, if you're starting out and you're wanting to put yourself into the business world, or you're in the business world, as Georgie said, that like you can be an 8-figure income earner and still have low self-esteem.
Yep.
Right? And it doesn't go away. It's just a bigger beast depending on where you're at. And so when you're doing something new, Georgie, like you're just setting up something that you've never done before, what goes in you? Like, what do you do? Because I know what I do. I go, this isn't going to fucking work. No one's going to want it. And then I just do it anyway.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So I'm a recovering perfectionist. So if I waited for things to be perfect, I'd never bloody do anything. So my kind of mantra is start before I'm ready. So if I have an idea for something, and check out my t-shirt, it says strong, smart, brave on it.
Yeah, I love that.
That's kind of my mantra now, is start before I'm ready. So if I have an idea for something, so another thing, guys, I've run 3 fully booked retreats a year for the past 2 or 3 years. And I just had to cancel my March one because I only sold 2 spots. So it was a kind of a gutting decision. But there were lots of reasons for it. You know, people wanted to come, but there's still COVID hangovers happening. People are still, you know, finally getting married after having their wedding cancelled 3 times, and they're going back on holiday and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is still good. People were just busy. And so I thought, okay, people can't afford the time for a 4-day retreat. I am going to, or, you know, people in my audience currently, let's tell the right story. People in my audience currently don't want to spend the time on a 4-day retreat. I will do a 1-day retreat instead. And so I thought, I'm not going to think too much about it. I've got some ideas for venues. I've got a couple of ideas for workshops I would run. I put a post on Facebook saying, this is how I generally start my posts for like new ideas. I'm totally thinking about doing a 1-day retreat. I'd do it this, and this is what it would involve. Who would like more details if I finalize it? And so many people put their hands up. I sold it within 2 days, sold all the spots within 2 days, because I started before I was ready. It was really casual and conversational. My audience already know that they're going to get good stuff from me. And, you know, it was easy. So start before you're ready.
I love that. And I think this is one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, is procrastination, don't they? And it can be perfectionism, or I'm not good enough, whatever it is that's running. And yeah, I suggest I'm the same. It's just like, you just got to give it a shot and see what happens. And if it fails, then you learn, right? Not every.
Exactly.
So how do you deal with failure, Georgie? Like, what do you do when something goes tits up and you just go, okay, that didn't work? We all have a pity party. We all feel that way. All of us do. How do you handle those failures in your world?
Step one, cry, obviously, because that's just where I am. That's just who I am. So yeah, crying, I'm a firm believer that crying is a really good release. So if I can have a good cry and get it out of my system, then step one, tick, kind of thing.
No.
I'll generally, again, step away from this laptop, on my office and all that kind of stuff, because, there can often be some kind of bad energy flow. I'm not a great, I'm not super woo-woo or anything like that, but there can be some bad energy flowing around when you've stuffed up or something hasn't worked or whatever. Get away from the tech, get away from social media, go for a walk. Like nature is my great healer. Nature answers so many of my questions. And I often find that when I go out into nature, I get focus, I get some perspective on things, I get some clarity on stuff that's, maybe have been eluding me for a while. And I think, what is the alternative? Am I really going to give this up? And if I'm going to give it up, then what would I do? I don't know what I would do. So, okay, George, you've got your answer then, haven't you? Go back and do it again and do something different. So yeah, there's definitely a bit of self-pity going on. I think it's part of the process. But the most important bit is to like get some perspective on it, learn, and then re-implement it. Just, as I said, remembering like my thing about business being an experiment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so
I feel bad I don't have better news for you guys, but here you are.
Oh, look, I think to be honest, it's really important. It's real news.
Yeah.
Because look, every week I get a message in my messenger saying, I'm going to promise you 30 leads in the next month where you're going to get your money back. And I sit there and I just do block. And then and I just block, and I got a sore thumb from blocking. And I just don't, I do not want someone to message me like that and say they're going to promise me this, because they don't even know my business. They don't know who I am, and they don't know who I serve, and they don't know what I do. And then what do you do with all of this, Georgie? I have so many people don't add me as a friend yet. And then they start commenting on my feed. Oh, that's great, Jason. That's awesome. Good job. I'm like, you don't know me, and I think you might be a little bit of a wanker. And
yes,
I don't like that for me personally. I think whoever's teaching that it's not my bag. Maybe it is for other people, but it's just not my thing. Anytime someone does that, I just go, I'm not going to actually respond to them in Messenger if they contact me. So what do you do when you're trying to meet new people and connect with new people and find out how to engage with people in a way that's actually not going to be like this weird shit that I keep getting myself? I don't like it myself anyway.
It's so gross, isn't it? And occasionally I'll respond, and I'll put my kind of sales and marketing guru hat on and say, there's a better way that you could have done this. The other day, no word of a lie, I had a guy, he liked 10 of my posts. He commented on 3 posts. And then I got a message in my inbox saying, loving all your posts. How would you, I'm paraphrasing, how would you like to lose some weight and get healthier and, have a happy family kind of thing? And I'm like, so for the listeners, holding my arm up to the screen, like, look at my elbows. I don't need to lose any weight. He hadn't tailored his message at all to me, not at all to me. And so obviously I wrote him a very long message back explaining exactly why his message was so inappropriate and how triggering it could be with people with body issues and stuff. Yeah. And he just gave me a crying face emoji in response. But so I will tell you what I do in a minute, but I wanted to give you that example, which is a very bad example, and we've all had them, right? You've just alluded to that as well. But I had a message in my inbox the other day, and it goes right back to what we were saying at the beginning. It was sent with so much love. I could read the love in her words. So she had been on one of my workshops. I've had recurrent laryngitis every year for many years. And last year I lost my voice for 5 or 6 weeks, and you can even hear now, like I've got a little crackle when I speak too much. I've got a little crackle in my voice. And so I'd been running this workshop for an hour and 10 minutes or something. My voice was going, and she messaged me. She said, "Hey, loving your workshop, really love it. It's so much good value, la 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 la." So compliment, number one, compliment, genuine compliment. I couldn't help notice, I could hear something in your voice. And when you said that you had laryngitis, everything fell into place for me and I couldn't unsee it. She said, just like when you look at somebody's messaging or their marketing and it doesn't make sense to you, I could hear something in your voice isn't right. And, you know, then she went on to say, look, you can find out some more about me. I'm a vocal coach for people who don't want to be singers. I help entrepreneurs, you know, use their voice in the best way that they can. You can find out more about me here, or you can book a free call here. Whether or not our paths cross again, or she said, I'm sure our paths will cross again in Facebook, but I wanted to wish you all the best. So she complimented me, genuine compliment. She reached out about a specific thing that she had noticed, gave me the choice of contacting her and like wish me well, whatever. So zero pressure. I booked a call that moment. 2 days later, I had the call and I signed up with her on the spot to help me manage my vocal cords. So that was a really good example of like from cold to sold. It was very timely. Her message was very timely.
I love that.
So then for me, what I will do is as we've already said, like I'm a massive believer in giving a lot of value, giving a lot of love. And that's why these workshops work really well, because it's you and 10, 20, 30 other people in a Zoom room together. You're creating conversations with people. You're getting to understand where their blocks are, what's holding them back from getting the thing that they really want. And then you're able to, like, I'm very upfront. I'll say, look, you guys, what I'm teaching in this workshop is a teeny weeny part of my entire program. And even if we were here all day, I still wouldn't be able to give you everything that's in the program. But I'm giving you this whole thing with my love. And at the end, I'll tell you how we can work together and I'll follow up with you. Because as a sales and marketing coach, like I want to walk my talk. I even say to people, you know, when I'm talking about funnels, and I say, you know, we're in this workshop, you're in the convert part of my funnel right now. Gotcha. And they'll be like, oh my goodness, you can see the lights go on around the Zoom room and they realize all these freebies that they've been consuming. What is actually happening to them is that they're in a funnel of some description. And then they can use that in their own business. Whether they go on to work with me or not, they've got something that they can go away. They've got a deeper understanding. And then, yeah, I pop into their DMs afterwards. Usually we've had a bit of chat backwards and forwards anyway. And I'll say, hey, you know, did you love the workshop? And I say something like this normally: I would love to get my hands on your business. Can we have a chat about how we could make it happen?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's
super short. Yeah, super short. There's no faffing around with these long ass DM frameworks and stuff like that, because I lose my way. I lose impetus. And you know, people feel safe with me. They're like, no, not right now, George, I'm really sorry. And I'll be like, no probs. And they'll come to another workshop and eventually they'll sign up.
That's fantastic. So it's just a matter of keeping on showing up, from what I'm hearing, and knowing, you know, the different types of buyers that are out there. And your job is just to be consistently there and be prepared for when people are going to say yes, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you know, really, really get it super duper clear who you're here for and the things that you do together. Like that's really important, is, you know, all that messaging stuff, how you communicate what you do and why.
Yeah, I think that's really important, especially for lots of businesses don't know. I still sometimes I flap around that answer.
We're so close to our own stuff.
Yeah,
we're so close to our own stuff. The best, you know, for your listeners, the best thing to do is talk to some of your past clients and ask them the questions, you know, what was going on for you before we worked together? Like, what made you jump in and decide that now is the time to do something about the thing? And that will tell you so much. All this we talk about in my program, we talk about tangible and specific examples over vague and general. So let's just chuck the word overwhelm out the window, and let's chuck the word stuck out the window, because that doesn't really describe anything. For your particular client, what does overwhelm actually look like? What are they actually doing when they are overwhelmed? That's the key.
I love that, because you're getting in their head, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I get so much good feedback on my social media posts, because I'm very good at articulating what people have, are going through, because guess what? I've been through it before as well. So it's very, it's easy for me to walk in somebody else's shoes. And also I'm pretty empathetic as well. So it's very easy for me to put myself in someone else's shoes and imagine what they would be going through on a day-to-day basis when they're struggling with their sales and marketing.
Yeah, for sure. So, Georgie, I really want to thank you for jumping on today and sharing your magic with the listeners. Now, listeners, if you want to get some help around sales and marketing, look, I know for people who are watching or listening to my podcast, a lot of people really trust me and what the type of people that I believe in. This woman is someone I 110% believe in as a human being, her skills and what she can do. So we'll put all the details in the show notes. Please get in contact with Georgie if you need some help around your sales and marketing game, because you won't just get a person showing you what you need to do. You'll get someone who really gives a damn about you. And I think this is what is so imperative in this day and age. We need people like you, Georgie, to show us that marketing and sales is not sleazy. It's important, and it provides businesses with what they really need to get their businesses moving. So thank you so much for jumping on Uncovered today.
Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to our podcast. We'd love it if you could like and share it with your friends. Our website address is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademy.com. We also have all of the videos on YouTube under Wellness Breakthrough Academy as well. We also do small courses, live events. I have an amazing book called From Broken to Breakthrough. We'd love the opportunity to give you a hand to help you live your purpose, to find out what you're here for, to give you the direction. Our courses are amazing, and we do everything really, really differently for what's happening in the world at the moment. So come and find out how we can help you break your limitations so you can live the life of your dreams. We'll chat soon.